This is clay. It's really squishy. The earth, it's a natural material, comes from the earth, and when it dries, it takes a couple days for it to dry. When it dries, it looks like this, but it breaks super easy. We would not want to take this home when it breaks like that, so we put it in the kiln. The kiln is like a super hot oven, and it turns the clay hard, and it turns it white. Look, it does its little magic trick. It changes colors. The kiln gets up to about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Your oven at home gets up to about 500 degrees. So it gets super hot, and it basically, what it does is it sucks all the water. It doesn't look like there's water in there, but there is. It takes it all out, and then it turns it into a hard clay. And then when you're done, you can paint it. This is what it looks like when it's painted. This is a different project. And if you do glaze, then you paint it on. It's kind of like a paint, and then it turns like glass in the kiln, and it makes it waterproof, and it has to go back in the kiln a second time. So you're not going to take your projects home right away. It's going to take a couple weeks, but then you will get them back. So today you're going to make your slab pot. A slab is a flat piece of clay. I'm going to show you some examples of some things you can make. To make your slab, first of all, we do not pound the clay. That makes it very hard to work with. It gets cracks in the clay gets hard, and it doesn't help anybody. You're first, before you use a roller, you're going to take your hands, just go ahead and go like this with your hands right now, and you're just going to squish it out. Believe me, it does not work to take a big lump of clay and then try and use a rolling pin. That does not work. So you have to take your hands and flatten it out. And the more you flatten it, the more clay you have to work with, because the farther the clay will go. So I'm going to show you a couple different things you can make here. And then after you do that, you're going to have to share the rolling pins at your table. But look about how many times I need to roll it. How many times did I roll it? I did that 3 times. So you're going to quickly roll it out. Now would be the time that you could do texture. I have some texture plates. Texture is how something feels. And so you can press some things in there. Again, you're going to take turns. You just use the tools at your table. There's this. You're going to start with a rectangle. To make a cylinder, and you'll remember this from doing projects before, we start with a rectangle. If I want to make a cup or a vase, this is what I'm going to do. Now, most of you have done clay before. I just want to do a reminder. When you stick 2 pieces of clay together, it looks like it will stick, right? But when it dries, it comes apart. So to stick 2 pieces together, we always need to score, which is making those little marks. Slip is where you take one fingertip and you spread the clay and water mixture called slip. And then those holes those marks that you just made, it kind of sucks that water down in. And when you put the clay together, it'll stick.
Score, slip, and stick. Score, slip, and stick. I take my clay and I score, slip, and stick. I score my clay with a paper clip. I spread the slip with my fingertip. I squish my clay so that it will stick. Score, slip, and stick. Score, slip, and stick.
Clay pot would be, and I use my paper clip tool, cut it out, and again, I'm going to score, slip, and stick. If it's too tall for your finger to reach in there, because if you push too hard on one side, it's going to smash it together, you can put a rolling pin in and push against that rolling pin to kind of seal it up. So I'm going around the edges. I'm going to show you something else. Let's say you want to make a rectangle. You could make another simple project to do. Whoops, that had dry clay on it. Is to make a napkin holder. A napkin holder, again, would be a rectangle, but I would just bend it. And now I'm going to turn it upside down to dry. And then you would score, slip, and stick the bottom pieces, because you don't want your napkin holder to roll around. So you would make some legs on it there. Then you turn it over, and then you would have your napkin holder. So cup, vase, napkin holder. You could do a simple bowl. You could do, there's examples of a castle. You might think of Lego toys or little Lego minifigures, something you want to make for that. Or you can make something else that you can think of, but I want you to use a slab of clay to make your project.